All right, folks, so welcome to Unit 5, Topic 6 of AP Human Geography. This topic is agricultural production regions. So I know what you're thinking, farming regions. I'm not even sure I've even seen a farm unless it was in Minecraft. So trust me, what we're about to learn and talk about actually affects everything from what's in your fridge to your fast food bag, and yes, even what's on your nachos. So we're going to dive into how land, labor, and location all shape how food is grown. Okay, so the College Board says that we're working with standard PSO 5C1. So today we're going to talk about how this asks how do economic forces influence agricultural practices. So in other words, why do some countries have huge cornfields with tractors and others have people farming with hand tools? So to figure this out, we're going to look at whether a region is focused in subsistence farming, which is growing food to eat, or commercial farming, which is growing food to sell. So here's how you can tell how much land is being used. Is it the country? Is the country part of the core, like U.S., Japan, or a periphery country like Mozambique? How many tractors are in the game? What is the productivity like? And are the farms big, like the U.S. ones, over 400 acres? And do they link? Are they linked to businesses like a supply chain? All right, so let's break this down really fast. They in the US, only about 0.7% of people work in agriculture. That's right, not even 1%. But in Mozambique, over 74%. That's wild. So, why the difference? It's about development. More developed, more machines, fewer farmers, and less developed means more people need to do the actual farming manually. So, more farmers usually means subsistence farming. All right, so let's take a closer look at the 2017 map showing the share of labor force employed in agriculture. It's a perfect snapshot of global inequality in agricultural development. In countries like US, Canada, and much of Europe, the percentage is super low thanks to technology, big machines, and access to global markets. But when you look at sub Saharan Africa or South Asia, boom, over 50% of people are working in agriculture. This tells us that in places where there's less access to technology and infrastructure, more people have to just grow enough food. It's a key indicator of when you're figuring out if an area is leaning toward subsistence or commercial agriculture. All right, so in wealthier countries, think the US, Germany, Japan, you've got a lot more tech. And more tech means more crops, more efficiency, and yes, more money. So farms get huge yields because they use fancy machinery and software to do it all faster, better, and stronger. Farmers might be checking crop data on iPads, not just watering their plants with a hose. All right, so now we're going to talk about monoculture. This isn't a sci fi term or anything like that. It means growing only one crop over a huge area. Think miles of corn or soybeans. Sounds efficient, right? Well, there's pros and cons to this. The pros would be easier to manage, bigger harvest equals more money, and it works well with machines. The cons are that it wrecks the soil, it needs lots of water, there's more pests, so you have to use more pesticides, and there's less biodiversity. And when you focus too much on one food, others like heritage crops can go extinct, and that's a big yikes. If you haven't watched it yet, check out the YouTube click linked on this slide, and it's a wild ride through the food apocalypse. All right, so we're going to be talking about intensive and extensive farming practices and how they're determined in part by land costs. Okay, so switching gears, we're going to talk about real estate, but for farmers. Welcome to the bid rent theory. It's like Farmer Zillow. The closer you are to the market, aka where you sell food, the more money the land costs. So it makes sense, right? So high intensity farming, stuff that needs a lot of care, goes bad fast. So it happens to be close to town. Big cheap farms like cattle ranches are farther out. Think of it like you want to go to the best schools, so your house has to be as close to that really good school as possible. All right. Intensive farming. This is small lands, lots of labor, and lots of money. Think strawberries near the city. Extensive farming is big land, less labor, and think of cattle ranches or grain farms that are really far out. So if you're short on land, try intercropping. It's like planting multiple crops close together so that you have a tiny backyard garden, becomes a mini jungle of food, efficient and eco-friendly. All right, so intensive substance. This equals lots of labor, local food like rice paddies in Asia. Intensive commercial means high labor for profit, so like Florida strawberries. Extensive substance means low labor and local use, so nomadic herding. And then extensive commercial means low labor for money, so cattle ranching. So what you get when you mix how much land, money, and labor you use, it's very specific to the type of farming. And finally, how has agricultural land use changed in Europe? Back in the day, more people farmed tiny plots. Now, fewer people, bigger farms, and much more tech. So, the agricultural density, that's the farmers per land, has gone down. One person can do what it used to take 20 people to do. Sounds wild, right? So, next time you open a bag of chips, remember land, labor, and location made that snack possible. So that's a wrap on topic 5.6, agricultural production and regions. Now go out there and impress your friends with farming knowledge. And you never know when you'll end up on a trivia show, or do you just really want to know where your mango came from? And that's it. I will see you guys next time in class. Make sure that you complete your lesson review and your reflection questions. And always don't forget to write down any questions that you might have that you want me to clarify in class. See you guys in class.